So I'm going to go through my issue, then we'll have some time for questions. Diversify your friends. Studies say that whites tend to have fewer friends of color and also work in more isolation as far as people of color. Now, we know if you work for the state or the government, that's not necessarily true. And also there was a study that I read that said that this was pretty intentional, in that people of color tend to have more friends of different groups. We've got to allow people to be a part of our world, invite them into our homes who have things in common with. One of the things that my wife oftentimes says, well, I'm not a racist because I don't have any friends, so I don't select my friends based on their race. But one of the things that has been empowering for me is to meet people of different races and different genders that have become lifelong friends. And it's not based, friends should not be based on what you look like. We've really got to love one another and care for one another. And that's the power of the church, is that we oftentimes build relationships that are closer with people who are church family than sometimes with individuals in our own family. And it extends beyond the days of the platform of the church. And I would also say, let faith inform your politics, not politics inform your faith. We are in a day wherein faith is coming in second to politics, where individuals are more focused on whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, whether you're progressive or liberal, than they are you're a Christian. And it's actually causing division in the church. And I've read one study that said that there are a sizable number of people are picking the church they attend based upon whether it's conservative or a liberal church or progressive. That's kind of crazy, because Jesus Christ is the same. And when I meet clergy who are struggling, where they have someone in White Memorial Presbyterian Church, and New Hope Presbyterian Church, our largest church, has around 4,000 members. On this side sits the architect of conservative politics in the state of North Carolina. On this side sits the Democratic governor of the state of North Carolina. And the pastor and I had a conversation. He says, there are times when I'm not quite sure what to preach. Preach Jesus. Just preach the gospel. We're not called to take sides. We're not called to be Democrat or Republican. We're called to be people of faith. And there are times when the message of Jesus is very conservative. Jesus talks about sin very strongly. And that we're called to be people of righteousness, called to be people who walk a different walk. But obviously there are also times when Jesus is very progressive, very liberal, especially in social justice issues. But the things that we're called to learn what it means to be a Christian, and let that inform the politics that we have. And then I would say discover ways to place yourself in the midst of groups where you're not the majority. Many African Americans tell you about what it means and how it feels to be not the majority. But there are times when all of us need to be around people who look different, who think differently, who have a different perception. Because the thing about life, about being a person of faith, is there's growth, continual growth. It's never a moment where we have to be satisfied with where we are. And that's a challenge. And I close with the challenge of Jesus to the rich young ruler who came to Jesus. And in Mark's version, it says that this rich man came, he says, what does it mean, what must I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said to him, you know the commandments. He said, love the Lord your God, honor your mother and father, do not steal. He said, I've done this all my life. He's outlived in accordance to the 10 Commandments. And Mark's gospel is the only one that says this. Jesus looked at him and loved him, because he knew that this guy was not just pretending. He was not putting on airs, as we say. And that he knew that this guy had tried to be a faithful Jew all of his life. But then Jesus took it to another level. Jesus said, okay, take everything that you have, all of your wealth, all of your property, and sell it. Give the proceeds to the poor, and then come and follow me. And of course the Gospels record that this was too much of an ask for him, and he went away sorrowful. But that is how Jesus encounters us. We can't stay where we are. We've got to continue to grow. We've got to challenge ourselves to not only to have a comfortable and blessed life, but to share God's blessings with others. And so at this time, I'll open it up. Are there any questions? Or yes, sir.
I actually got a kick out of your sermon. To me, I thought it was Jewish Lives Matter. It one subtext to it at the beginning. But I have a question for you. And do you think that the violence that has a couple of racial overtones that's going on now is just acting out by people, a small group of people who are miscreants, or is it just the tip of an iceberg of race relations that are still seriously messed up?
When you say the violence, you're talking about like in Ferguson?
Actually, I was thinking Newark, but, you know,
Okay.
we've had a lot of violence in the last.
And it was in response to a racial incident that happened. A couple of things. One, there is the what's Johnson's report called? The President Johnson's report back in the 60s. What's the word? It's not Kerner report. The Kerner report written in 65 talked about rioting. And it was written in response to the riots, that were occurring in that day. And it said something very interesting. It talked about how this was an expression of frustration and anger on the part of the people who were being discriminated against. And it also talked, interestingly enough, back in 65 about police brutality and said it was largely in response to police brutality. Now, I do think that there are legitimate forms of protest that are being expressed, obviously, in some illegal manner. So if you're talking about breaking into stores, looting, things along that line, I don't think that's productive. And King talked a lot about that. But I do think that right now we've got to realize that many individuals are very vulnerable right now. Now, there are individuals who come for that purpose. And I do believe that there are a minority of individuals in any situation who come with the intent of breaking into stores. But I think most people who are out protesting are wanting to protest in peaceful means. North Carolina, we have in Durham, had a young Hispanic male, 16 years of age, who was handcuffed in the back of a police car. And this was probably in 2014. He wound up getting shot in the back of the police car. Now, the policeman said that he had a gun on him, and that he managed to get the gun out with his hands handcuffed behind his back and shot himself. So this caused a tremendous uproar in the community. And there was a protest held at the police station. And during that protest, the windows of the police station were knocked out. Now, within the activist community in Durham, the conversation was that these were individuals from outside of Durham who would come in for that purpose of having a violent protest. But most of the protests that I see are peaceful. So I think, to really be honest with you, it's hard to say. Each community is different, but I do think that when individuals hit the streets, and especially in response to racial situations, oftentimes that's the only voice that they can speak in that causes people to listen. And I will say this, resistance to racism has been consistent in the history of this country. And the powerful part is that a large majority of it has come from the black community, from communities of color, but there have also always been whites who have been voices which speak, cry out against racism. You look at any movement, it's really been a partnership, and I think especially when you're looking at what's happening today. This is the interesting thing about More Money. Y'all know what More Money is? Reverend Barbara. We had a protest in North Carolina in 2013. The protest, the actions of the General Assembly of that state, saying that the policies are not just discriminatory against racially, but against the poor. They refused to sign into Obamacare. That meant that 500,000 North Carolinians would have gotten free health care. And the estimates were that 2,800 people a year would die in North Carolina because they don't have health care. They cut teacher pay, they cut teachers, assistants. They came up with this voter ID law, which was declared by the Fourth Circuit of the United States, that it was surgically, intentionally carving out African Americans to vote. So we started these protests. Over almost 1,000 people were arrested that year. But the powerful part is that the movement is led by primarily African American clergy. But 90% of the participants and of the people who are arrested are middle class whites. And when you stand there, and I stand on the stage, I see a sea of white folk. And most of them are individuals not impacted by the legislation that's being produced. Most of them are Christians, people of faith. And in many ways, especially I think for young people, this is now their church. When I made reference to the protests at the Supreme Court of the travel ban of the president, there were 2,000 people out there, and I guarantee you most of them were under the age of 30. And it was peaceful, it was powerful, and it was spontaneous. They basically got word, and within an hour they began to gather to protest this travel ban. This is church for them. And the thing that the church has got to learn to connect with this energy, because there's a disconnect that is growing each year in this country between young people and the relevance of the church. And the Presbyterian Church has studied this issue for years, and we basically came to one conclusion, that one of the reasons why we were declining is that our children, when they moved away, they didn't leave the Presbyterian Church for another church. They stopped going to church. So we've got to let them know that the focus of the church, that one of the goals of the church is social justice. Because this is dynamic in this country, how young people are lifting up their voices and saying no. Any other questions?